Bradley Smith, Committee for Open Debate on the Holocaust. I'm in the midst of, one, we have a storm going on, it's the second day now, and two, I'm in the midst of cleaning up my office. Hernandez, show them why I need to clean up my office.
Here we go.
I've emptied my storage from the other side. I emptied my storage from upstairs. I've got everything down here now. And the interesting thing, the relevant thing for this shoot is that I'm running across all kinds of old documents, newspaper clippings, stuff I don't really need anymore, and old manuscripts. In my books, I'm getting rid of books. I'm getting them to the Red Cross in town, putting my stamp in them with Kodo and how to get online, which is how Hernandez found me. He bought a used book from someone and found Kodo.com stamped in it. So, as you see, the office needs a little tidying up. As a matter of fact, I got a message from Paraguay telling me to take the fly swatter off of the nail up here. And being the thorough kind of person I am, I did that. The fly swatter is gone. One of the manuscripts that I found that is not online is a story. I was happy to find it. It's called Non-Mathematical Multipliers, and it deals with a story I wrote when I was working at Harris Casino in Reno, and I had my eye on a lady. She had her eye on me too, until the day I told her about when I vacuumed my cat. She was an animal lover, and that ended it between us. Anyhow, that will be that will be online shortly, and I'll give a link to it when it gets up there. The reason I bring this up is that I'm reminded, of course, not of course, but I'm reminded once again of the discovery of the Anne Frank manuscripts by Miep Kies, the Dutch lady who worked for Anne Frank's father after Anne was taken away by the Germans and the Dutch police. She found a bunch of manuscripts lying on the floor in the attic, and she did not find the Anne Frank diary. This is the point to the story. She found a bunch of manuscripts. She found different versions of the diary, notebooks, letters. She found all kinds of stuff. Anne was a writer. Anne and I, by the way, were born within months of each other. If she were alive today, she'd be my age. She'd be 6-7 months older than me. And I read the Anne Frank diary years ago, and I thought it was okay. Year before last, here, I don't know why, but I read it again, and I found it to be a very good read. I was surprised at what a good read it was. I was more taken with it 2 years ago than I was 20 years ago. The thing is that Anne Frank's diary is not a historical document. It's taboo to say so, but if you're a student, if you're in the press, it's simply it's a literary work. Anne was a writer. She wanted to be a writer. She was much more alert at 13 and 14 than I was, I'll tell you that. I couldn't have put two sentences together when I was her age, when she was doing her diary entries and the rest of the stuff. But she worked on the diaries herself. She rewrote them. She was a literary writer, you know. That's what she was as a young teenager. But it's not a historical document. The various manuscripts were patched together, really, by her father and various other people concerned with one or more versions of the diary. The father, by the way, there's a picture of the father on the Anne Frank house page. And it's quite a good picture. It's a group shot, but he's in the center. And he looks, he's not very pretty, but he looks very bright. And I have the feeling that Anne got some of her brightness from the father. The father was a fraud and a liar, like so many people who who front for the Holocaust story. I think that it's proper for students, if you are a student, to understand that there's a taboo to ask questions about the Anne Frank diary, just as it's taboo to ask any critical question about the Holocaust story. The Holocaust marketing industry your professors are subservient to the Holocaust marketing industry. It would be interesting if some of you started asking your professors about some of the material. For instance, I'll give you a link to a document by Robert Forson dealing with this issue, and it'd be interesting to ask some questions about the Anne Frank diary and see what your professors had to say about them. Rabbi Marvin Heyer, of course, he came out when Reed Keyes died 3 days ago. He came out with a statement saying that if it wasn't for the Anne Frank diary, there would be millions of people who would not be introduced properly to the Holocaust story. Well, he's probably right about that. But look at the man. Look at this rabbi who is pushing the Anne Frank diary, and is so happy that millions of people have read it. He founded an institute, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, using as a symbol one of the great liars of the 20th century, Simon Wiesenthal. So what we have here is, this is just one example, but we have the Lion Simon Wiesenthal Center expressing condolences for Meep Keyes, who found the Anne Frank diary, which was not a diary. There's a few ironies involved here. I'll give a couple links that make sense to you. Okay? Bye.